first 5 picks I loved. I'd give this draft an A+ through the first 5 picks. Then they take wide receiver Jordan Watkins in round 4 with the comp pick, 138. Jordan Watkins, first, what I like about Jordan Watkins, he's really fast, 4.37, and he's not 5'8", he's not 5'6", he's not a specialty gadget guy. No offense, Jacob Cowing. He's a legit outside receiver, 5'11", doesn't have the longest arms, but he's a good route runner, and he is short-handed, and he wears number 11, which I find is interesting. So, to me, this is maybe a Brandon Ayuk potential replacement. It seems like he can play the X receiver. He's not going to be a huge yak threat, but he is a deep threat. He can also line up in the slot. Again, he's got like really short arms, so I don't know if he can be the possession receiver that Jawan Jennings is, but he could be a deep threat for sure. He could replace Brandon Ayuk if Brandon Ayuk never returns to the player he was, or if he gets traded in the future. So I get it from that sense. Kyle Shanahan has a good view and vision for wide receivers and how they fit his offense. I mean, he hasn't gotten one wrong since Danny Gray, really. So you can see the talent and you can see the scheme fit. So I'm not going to say I don't like it. I didn't like the Ricky Pearsall pick last year, but when you see him on the field in this offense, you can see how he's going to be productive. I could see Jordan Watkins being productive as well, but I still feel like this here, 138, it's such a contrast from the defensive draft. And I don't know if Saleh was making the defensive picks and Kyle was making the defensive picks, or they were all making them together, but it just feels like they were so different. The defensive picks were so like structured. D-end first, that's the biggest need. Defensive tackle second, that's the second biggest need. Linebacker third, that's the third biggest need. Meanwhile, when they finally get to offense, wide receiver first. I mean, you're already at the end of round 4, so maybe it's not a big deal. You're picking, backups anyway. You're not getting future starters most likely, although the Niners have had success in this area of the draft getting starters. But it just seemed like there were so many offensive linemen who went after this. You didn't like any of them. You could have had a guard who could compete to I'm guessing there's going to be a guard drafted after Jordan Watkins. And I don't know who it is. Josh Williams and Tariq Ahmad and RJ Gillum, that's their job. They know. But I'm guessing there's going to be an offensive lineman taken after Jordan Watkins in this draft who's going to end up being a solid starter. Like someone who could be better than Spencer Burford. Because Spencer Burford's now, is he a starter for this team or is Ben Barch? Either way, not great. PrizePicks is sponsoring the Cohn Zone this year. PrizePicks is the leader in daily fantasy and the best place to win cash while watching sports. And the best part about the app is it's really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few players' stats. I'm a Niners guy. So when I'm doing PrizePicks, I'm looking, the last couple of years, I'm looking at Deebo Samuel because I know Deebo Samuel better than Deebo Samuel knows Deebo Samuel. So if it's like drops, I'm taking more. Or if it's like punches thrown towards his long snapper on the sideline during the fourth quarter of a game, the 49ers will go on to win. I'm smashing more because I know the 49ers and I'm a PrizePicks guy. Now, maybe they didn't have those exact plays, but they have so many plays that'll make your head spin. And you can play PrizePicks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Best part about it is the new user offer. PrizePicks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. So win or lose, you'll get $50 just for playing. That sounds like a win to me. Use promo code Cohn, COHN, to claim your $50 today. Tell them Grant sent you. So this was an opportunity to draft another starter, a 6th starter, someone to compete with your worst players on offense. And instead you got a wide receiver who, what's he going to be Is he going to be the number 3 receiver week 1? Maybe. But then Demarcus Robinson comes back from a suspension. Ayuk comes back from an injury. This guy could play a whole lot of nothing this year. And this team isn't that good, has needs everywhere. And the offensive line, they talked about they wanted to address the trenches. They addressed the trench, singular. There was no trenches addressed. One trench. And it's funny. You think the fact that they take defensive lines so seriously, that they double up. I took 2 defensive tackles and a defensive end. I mean, It's the engine of their team. You'd think that like they would understand, well, the defensive line is rushing against offensive linemen. And if defensive linemen are important, then like people that block them are also important. If the defensive line is so important, wouldn't the offensive line be like almost as important, if not more important? I mean, pick 138 is still pretty early in the draft. You telling me you didn't like any offensive lineman taken around here? I just don't get that. And I also don't understand, like, they act like they have the highest standards for offensive linemen. You know, for us, we didn't find one that we like that would fit. You guys have one of the most blah offensive lines in the league. You can't find anyone that could compete. I mean, the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league, and they're drafting offensive linemen round 5, round 6, constantly taking guys because you don't know which guy's going to end up being good, and you want as much competition as possible. So taking a wide receiver before an offensive lineman, taking a wide receiver before essentially, yeah. Good player in a vacuum, but not honestly assessing your needs on offense is, to me, a hallmark of a Kyle Shanahan offense. A little bit of denial or delusion or whatever you want to call it in the nicest way. Whereas to me, the defense was very realistic about what it needed to address. So Jordan Watkins, good player. I didn't love the pick. Marcus Ralph says Jay Watkins, floor, Dante Pettis, ceiling Mike Wallace. That's the thing. I don't want to talk too much crap about this pick because Kyle Shanahan often knows what he's doing with wide receivers. I think that's why he takes them so often and so high, because he feels confident drafting them. He was a wide receiver. He's drafted some good ones. I didn't like the Pearsall pick. He's a good player. I don't like this pick. He's probably going to end up being a good player. I'm just saying, like, it's easier to find wide receivers than it is to find offensive linemen. And this was like kind of the last place to find an offensive lineman who might be any good. Grant says, what would have happened for Lynch to actually lose his job? What would have to happen? I don't know, a lot of losing. Shake my head, we down bad, says O'Shea Duke Jackson, who donates 30,000 UGX. I'm not sure what that is, but down bad for sure. Matt Sanders says devil's advocate, can least year's O-line picks improve? Who? Pooney? Nugent?